Network and Max recently announced an all-Nigerian cast for Iyanu, the epic superhero animated series created by Nigerian animator and storyteller Roy Okupe. It follows the journey of a young girl named Iyanu as she discovers her superhuman abilities and the destiny that ties her to her homeland. Roy visited VOA Studios and spoke to me about the inspiration behind the series and how he hopes the story will impact the global perception of Nigerian culture and mythology.
So for me, Iyanu it came out from me thinking about, and I have a 3-year-old daughter now, but before she was born, I always fantasized that if I had a daughter, like, what is something that, we could both watch together and enjoy, but at the same time, something that can also educate her about, where she's from and our history and our culture. So for me, it's been the driving force to really create something that my daughter, who is now 3, can enjoy and also be inspired by as well.
And what are some of your creative influences, both in terms of storytelling and artistic style?
Man, how long do you have? I have a lot of influences. Obviously, I grew up watching a lot of the, Marvel and DC shows. So Spider-Man, Batman, Superman, X-Men. I grew up a fan of superheroes. But at the same time, for me, I've always wanted to see these type of stories being told from the African perspective, because growing up in Nigeria, you get to hear about a lot of history, culture, and mythology that's so exciting that you feel like a lot of people all over the world would appreciate and enjoy as well.
What has been the most rewarding part of this experience? And what was your reaction when you finally found out that HBO were adapting your work?
So when I found out Cartoon Network and Max was going to be adapting it, I would say I don't want to talk too much about it because some of it's embarrassing, some of the screams and the shouting I was doing. But I think it was just being grateful and just being humble with the opportunity to really get a chance to tell this story the right way with the right people.
In what ways do you hope this series will impact this perception of Nigerian culture and mythology globally?
One thing that I've always tried to do is, when you grow up in Nigeria and what you see in mainstream media is always negative when it's being told about, Africans, whether it's poverty or corruption. And it's not like these things aren't there, but it doesn't paint the full picture. So for me, I'm trying to paint a full picture where we get to see more of the stuff you won't see in mainstream media, more of the inspirational stuff about our history, our culture, how resilient our people are, how beautiful our culture is, how great our food is, like all these things that you don't necessarily get to see in mainstream mainstream media is what I really hope people are going to be excited to see.
And let's get some of your thoughts on the current state of the animation industry, the African animation industry, regarding diversity and inclusion.
To me, I think it's a growing industry. Obviously, it's still in its infancy, but there's a lot of animation studios in Nigeria specifically that I can talk about that are doing great things. Magic Carpet, Spoof Animation, Antio Studios. These are some of the people that are really taking brave steps to really uplift and elevate the animation industry in Africa. And a lot of people outside Africa are taking notice, like Netflix and Amazon. You also have studios like Triggerfish in South Africa. You have some amazing studios in Kenya. So we're seeing the growth happen. And I think people just need to continue to support the content that comes out if they want to continue to see the growth.